guys, welcome back to another video. I wanted to do a video reading the highest rated on my TBR and the lowest rated on my TBR. So I went on Goodreads and basically just went to my want to read shelf and looked at what had the highest ratings and then the lowest ratings. So my highest rated was actually Rewind It Back by Liz Tom Ford, and that's the 5th book in the Windy City series, but that doesn't come out until the end of this month, so I went to the next one after that, and the next highest rated on my Goodreads is The Women. It has a 4.61 average rating, and which is not surprising. Kristen Hanna is amazing. I love her books. I've been wanting to read another one. It was one of the main books that I wanted to read in 2025. So we're gonna be reading for our highest rated. And then for the lowest rated, it was actually the lowest rated book on my TBR is actually on my Goodreads is actually the 3rd book in the Atlas series by Olivia Blake, but I've only read the first one. I haven't read the second one, so I can't read the 3rd one yet. And then that one has an average of 2.85 stars, and then the one above that, the next one would be I Hate You More by Lucy Gilmore, and I actually DNF'd this last year. I could not get into it, and I don't know if I gave it away or not. It's not on my shelf anymore, so I actually need to delete that from my shelf on here. So then the next one that would be the lowest rated that I have physically is This Is a Love Story by Jessica Soffer, I think. I don't know how to say it. This one sounds like it's gonna be sad. Okay, so it's basically about life and marriage and struggles that people go through. It takes place in New York, I guess. Oh my gosh, I guess you get flashbacks to basically spanning 50 years of this couple's, Abe and Jane's, whole relationship. But it sounds like it's gonna be sad. I don't know if I want to read this. The writing kind of looks weird. Why are there so many spaces? I feel like this one's gonna be a learning curve to understand the writing and the way it's structured, because it looks very different. So we'll see. I kind of don't want to start with this one, although it'd be easier to get it out of the way. So I'm gonna pick which one I want to start. I don't know. I'm not gonna force myself to read either of these if I'm not feeling it while I'm reading it. I don't want to force it, so I'll just DNF it. But I doubt that's gonna happen with the Kristen Hanna one. But this one, I feel like if it's not going well, I'll just go to the next lowest rated. Okay, so I'll come back when I pick whichever one I'm gonna start next, and whenever I've made progress in one of them. It's the next day, and I tried to start The Women, and I just feel like I'm not in a historical fiction mood right now. So we're going with our lowest rated one first, and this one's the one I was least excited about, because just I already could tell based on the structure of the book. I don't understand why it's such short paragraphs, where there's just one line and then 2 lines. And so I already knew it was going to be different. And I still don't really know how I feel. I'm 60 pages in, and it's definitely a learning curve, getting used to how it's written. I feel like it's a bit repetitive at times, the way it's told. So far, it's been in Abe, the husband's point of view, and him and Jane, who is she's dying. It says it on the back of the book. they're recounting like their life and their marriage, and I don't know if they're doing this because she's dying and she wants to remember all this stuff. And I think he's a writer. I think he's like writing their story while they're remembering all these things. And the way it's written, he's saying like, you remember this, I remember this. And it's like so repetitive. Just like reading every sentence starting with you remember. I feel like if it wasn't done so many times, it would be more impactful, but because if I felt like that was all I was reading was those two words, it's kind of just annoying at this point. And now I think it's going into a student of Abe's, like her point of view. The point of view is kind of hard to like determine, I guess. Like I think it's going into that. And there's also chapters that are titled with like that say like Central Park, and it's basically about like people in the park and like their lives and like what they're doing. So I don't really know what that's about. I think I'm just confused overall. Yeah, and I kind of want to know, like, I do want to know their marriage because it kind of seemed kind of not that great. Like up until they had their kid named Max, she seemed like she didn't want to be a mother, so I'm not really sure why she had him. Like she wasn't very present, and I think at the time that they had Max, it was before things like depression and anxiety, all that stuff, all those things, like mental health wasn't prioritized and medicated. So I feel like maybe it's just like postpartum depression, maybe she was depressed or just dealt with depression in general, and it was kind of just seen as her being neglectful of her child. So I don't know. I really don't know what's happening in this. So I'm gonna try and keep reading. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. So far, it's making sense that it's the lowest rated on my TBR. But I don't know. We're gonna keep pushing through, and I feel like it's gonna get to the point where I'm reading it just so I can finish it. Yeah, I think it's the writing that I'm just not jiving with, and it's making it hard to enjoy reading it. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll come back when I have some more thoughts. Sorry about the lighting. It's about to storm outside, so if it's dark, that is why. I've made a little bit more progress in here. I'm on page 140 now, and I'm kind of torn between DNFing it and continuing to read it and finish it. It's just I'm not interested in the story, and I feel like I'm pretty much halfway, so I feel like that's a good amount of pages in to determine whether I want to keep reading it or not. And I just feel like it's not getting any better. It's not getting any better. I'm not understanding it anymore. I'm not connecting. I think the way it's told, is just like you, and this may be the point, like you just can't, I have no connection with these characters. And I was gonna say that none of them are like good people, but like that doesn't really matter sometimes in books. Like I've read plenty of books where the characters aren't really the best people, but you can still like be interested by them, and I'm just not interested by the people in this, and the storytelling isn't very engaging. Like it doesn't have me like, oh, I need to keep reading and see how it happens. Like I do want to know like where, like what the point of this is, but I honestly just might end up skimming it just to see like if anything like stands out to me while I'm going through it. But I really just don't see the point of continuing it. So normally when I DNF a book, I give it like a 1 star. I don't know if that's fair, because I feel like if I finish it, it would be a 1 star. So I feel like DNFing it might be the move for this one. And the rating, I agree. Well, I don't agree. I feel like 3.25 is kind of high for this. Actually, I want to read some reviews on this. I want to see other people's thoughts on this one. So let's go to Goodreads. The average rating is 3.25 with only 6,500 ratings, which is that's not really a lot compared to most other books. But I see a lot of 5s. Here's a 2. Okay, so the consensus is that it really just depends on, like, if you like the writing style or not. This writing style is not going to be for everybody, and I feel like the people that rated it a little bit on the lower side have issues with the writing style, and I feel like that's how I feel. The sentences are just very short, and not even, like, sometimes short sentences are impactful and it works, but it does not in this one, and it just felt like I was reading random words put together. Like, it just, nothing really makes sense to me, and I'm just not jiving with it, and I don't care about the characters. I feel like you can't understand any of them based off of, like, how it's written, so I feel like it's hard to care or, like, want to keep going if you can't even, like, understand who the characters are. I don't know. I think I'm gonna DNF it. The more I talk about it and say all these things, I'm like, I just can't. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep filming this video just because I felt like I was in a slump after DNFing. This is a love story, and I decided that I'm just gonna leave that as it is. I'm not gonna try and read, like, the next lowest rating because I just don't want to force myself to do that. I decided to move on to the highest rated, and like I said, at the time that I started filming this video, the highest rated on my Goodreads TBR was Rewind It Back by Liz Ford, but that hadn't come out yet, so I was like, I'll just read the next highest one. But it's been a while since I started the video, so now that book has come out and I read it all in one day. In case you guys don't know, Rewind It Back is the 5th and last book in the Windy City series by Liz Ford, and this is basically just like a sports romance series that takes place in Chicago. And the first book is a hockey romance, the second book is a basketball romance, and the third and fourth are baseball romances, and then the last one, which is Rewind It Back, is a hockey romance. And this one, you've seen the character obviously because he's the last one to get a book. You've seen him in the background of all the other books, and honestly, like, I feel like as a side character, he was amazing. I loved him as a side character, but I was just like, okay, he's probably not gonna be my favorite because I love the Rhodes brothers. I can't decide between their books. I love them both. But the Rhodes brothers are the third and fourth one, the baseball romances, and I was like, nothing's gonna top that for me. So, you know, and I didn't love Mile High. I didn't love the male main character in that one, and that one was the hockey romance, so I just didn't have high hopes for this one, but I was excited to get into it. So I was like, I'll just read this, and then this could be, I'll use this instead of the other book for the highest rated. But did I record my reactions or anything? No, because I sat on the couch and binged this, stayed up till midnight to finish it. 5 stars. Like, Seriously, this Rio DeLuca is my favorite in this entire series, I think. That is so crazy. I never thought that I didn't think anyone could top the Rhodes brothers, Kai and Isaiah Rhodes, but Rio did it. Rio did it. I cannot explain how much I loved this book. The quotes were amazing. I just want to read some of my like favorite quotes. Okay. Oh, by the way, this is a second chance romance. In case you didn't know, childhood friends to lovers, and then second chance. And after like years of not seeing each other, he sees her again, like out on a date, and then they end up. I don't want to spoil too much. So when he does, he's like, "That guy you're with tonight, lose him." Like, if I was Hallie, I would have been like, okay, immediately. I can't say any of them without spoiling it, but Rio DeLuca is the perfect man. I love him. There are so many things about this book, and I feel like the things that I love about it, I can't say because it will spoil it, but just the romance in here. I think this is like the best second chance friends to lovers romance I have ever read in my entire life. Like, she really did that with that one. Like, I'm obsessed. I can't stop thinking about it. Seriously. It is so good. And I'm sad that that this series is ending. But she did confirm that the next series is going to take place in California following the Wilders, who you are introduced to in this series. So I am excited for that. I think it's going to be another sports romance. But you know, these characters are amazing. Hopefully we get some cameos of the Windy City series in California in that series, whatever it's going to be. I'm also looking forward to Monty's book. He is the coach, the baseball coach from this Windy City series, and she wasn't going to write a book about him, I don't think, but everyone was like, you have to, so it's kind of like a little spin-off from this series. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. But anyway, that was a 5-star for me, and then I decided because I didn't record myself reading it, I'll still read the women, okay? Because like after reading Rewind It Back, I was like, okay, I think this has cured my slump, and even though it could have made it worse because it was a 5-star and I'm like, nothing's gonna beat this, this is a totally different genre, so I felt like, okay, I can pick this up, I feel ready, and I'm pretty far in actually. I'm like over halfway because I listened to a lot of it at work today, but I basically started it last night, and I was gonna start it last night and then give you my like first thoughts today, but I'm like already like into it. Like this follows Frankie, who it takes place in like the 60s, 70s, where Frankie's older brother is being shipped off to Vietnam, and she learns that women can be nurses in the war, so she volunteers, or so she signs up to be a nurse in the army to go to Vietnam, and she kind of like does that naively, like she doesn't really know. Well, no one does. I wouldn't say she's naive about it because like no one knows what's going on in Vietnam at this time because everyone's lying about like how bad it actually is. So she goes over there and I haven't read a story, I don't think, that takes place during this time. I feel like all the books, like historical fiction books that are centered around a war, it's always like World War II or something, because I feel like that's probably the most popular. You're following her going to Vietnam and, you know, learning very quickly that things are not how they have been told, like, at all. And she obviously is like thrown into the thick of it. Like she's seeing things that she did not expect to see. And now at the point where I'm at now, we spend like basically half the book with her like going to Vietnam and then like while she's there. And then now at this point where I'm at, where I was like 60% in, she's gone back home and she's like dealing with people like spitting at her because, you know, people who don't like the war, and all that stuff. So she's dealing with a lot of backlash from that, and she's like not understanding why. And her parents are acting ashamed of her. And so she's dealing with that. She's dealing with grief of people that she's lost in the war, and then PTSD, obviously. And there's no one that she can talk to because no one, her parents are ashamed of her. She, like, most people are looking down at her for doing that. And people are also saying because the news is being, like, censored, no one knows what's actually going on in Vietnam. People are saying women weren't in Vietnam. And she's like, what? She's like, I was, but no one believes her because the news and like the government and everyone's like not telling that part. So she's just like having a really hard time, like, you know, which is expected after going through all of that trauma, honestly. And you're basically dealing, like, watching her navigate through life back at home now and dealing with all of her emotions and thoughts of, you know, things that have happened. And I will tell you, like, I should not have listened to this on audio while I was at work because some bad things happened, and I was like 2 things happened while she was in Vietnam, and I was sitting at my desk, and when those things happened, I was like, I had to sit with my head in my hands for like 5 minutes because I could not cry while I was at work. But Kristen Hanna is gonna do it every single time, and I mean, at this point in the book, I feel like I can say it's safe to say that, like, I can see why it's rated so highly. Probably all of her books are rated so highly. I actually don't remember what this was rated at, so I'm gonna look that up really quick and see if Rewind It Back, now that it's out, if it has a higher rating. Okay, The Women has 4.61 average rating on Goodreads with over a million ratings and 100,000 reviews. That's insane. Let's look at Rewind It Back. Okay, Rewind It Back still is number 1, or is still more than The Women. It has 4.65 average rating with only 19,000, almost 20,000 reviews, ratings, and 4,300 reviews. So, but I'm really enjoying this. I can't believe I put this off for so long. I don't know why. I think because I thought, like, the war aspect, like the Vietnam War, was going to be boring. But it's definitely not. I mean, I don't know why I thought it would be. Kristen Hanna's books are never boring, or at least to me, like, she always captivates my attention. So I don't know why I was putting it off, but I'm so glad that I finally got into this, and I'm excited to finish it. It's Friday evening, Friday afternoon. I have a few things that I need to do. Then after that, we're going to get locked in, and we're going to try and finish it this weekend. Probably won't finish it tonight, but I'll update you guys when I have some more progress. It is now the next day, and I actually finished The Women last night. Yeah, it was so good. I literally couldn't put it down. I just sat down and binged it, and I'm here to say that I needed to process my thoughts. I feel like recently I've been taking my time giving a rating to a book. Usually I give it a rating right after I finish it, and sometimes I feel like I don't think about it too much, and I just give it a rating, and then later I end up changing it because I'm like, I was like right off. I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I need to process it before I give it a rating. So this one, I definitely needed to sit on it. A lot of times I like voice my thoughts and my opinions to my fiance about like a book I finished, so that way I can solidify like my rating. So, like, I was telling him the entire story of this one. Like, I had to tell him, like, every single detail, and he was like, this sounds like a 5-star. And I was like, you know what? It is. Kristen Hanna just, she knows how to write a good story. And, it just, at no point was I bored. At no point was I, like, you know, ready to get to the end. Like, honestly, like, I went through so many emotions reading this. I was happy, I was sad, I was angry. There's a character in here. I don't want to spoil it, but I want to talk about it, but it will spoil a few things. But there are kind of some plot twists in here, which I guess she does throw in to, like, catch you off guard, and it's always, like, super depressing. But this one was, like, a betrayal, and this character, I was like, no. And I felt betrayed, and, like, I really felt for Frankie. And I love that about her books, is that she really makes you feel for the characters in here. And I know, and I mean, obviously Frankie and, like, the characters are fiction, but, like, the story and, like, what actually happened, like, what was going on with Vietnam and her coming home, like, that is real. And the struggles that she went through coming home was real. And it's just so sad to think about that. And I feel like the Vietnam War is still not really talked about that much. And I don't know, I think it was really refreshing to read a story about it when it's not normally something that everyone talks about. Or it's not something that you see as much as, like, World War II. So I think this is a 5-star. How crazy is it that we found 2 5-stars in this video back to back? Like, that's rare. And they're completely opposite genres. So, I mean, I guess I expected this. I always go, well, I don't want to say I always go into a Kristen Hanna book expecting a 5-star, but I always know that she's going to get me. Like, there's going to be some 5-star feelings. Now that I finished all of these books, I'm going to do, like, my final, like, little review for each one. Kind of like a little wrap up. So what I read for our lowest rated on my TBR was This Is a Love Story by Jessica Soffer. And the average rating for this one was like a 3.25. And I got, like, halfway in this. Could not finish it. Writing style, just not for me. So I think the rating is justified. I think it's kind of like hit or miss whether you, like, connect to the writing style or not. So I think I will agree with that one. I think it could be lower, but I do see other people enjoying it. And then I have a physical copy of Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford, and she's coming out with these, like, editions for all of them, I think, throughout the year, which is so cute. I'm really excited to get all of them. But I also ordered, like, the original covers that have, like, the cityscape in the back, like Chicago. I ordered those. I ordered that version because my other books are the city cover, so I wanted it to match. But I absolutely loved this book. I want to go through, like, from my Kindle with my highlights and go back in here and tab this one, or maybe I'll tab the other one because it won't have sprayed edges, and sometimes tabs don't show up as much. But I love this book. The average rating when I first started this video, because it wasn't out yet, was 4.7. But now I think it's like 4.65, which is still not much of a difference. Still amazing. I totally agree with that. I gave this 5 stars. This is the best book in the series. If you want, like, a standalone found family sports romance series, read the Windy City series. And then the women, this one has an average rating of 4.61, I think, and definitely agree with that one. Definitely deserves high ratings. So good. Gave this one 5 stars. And I'm so glad that I read it. Okay, so thank you guys for coming along with me, and while I read these books, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I felt like I was kind of, like, in a slump, and I needed kind of some kind of direction to pick my books, you know? So this was like a good way for me to like motivate myself to read. And I'm definitely glad that I got these off my TBR, even though one of them was a DNF. But that, you know, that's just how it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, all those good things, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!